Class 8th. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All my dear students, I had started with the revision session of the circulatory system and I'll continue with it today also. So let's start. I told you about the human circulatory system, that is the types that it consists of, and I had even told you about the components of the blood vascular system and explained the fluid and the cellular component of blood. Today I'll proceed on with the functions of blood. So as explained to you regarding the functions of the various cells, that is the red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and the function of the plasma. What is the overall function of the blood? You can sum up the various functions, that is the oxygen transport from the lungs to all the cells of the body, and along with that it is also carrying the carbon dioxide as the waste products from all body cells to the lungs. That is, from the lungs the oxygen is being transported to all the body parts, that is to each and every cell of the body. Then back from the cell it is carrying the carbon dioxide and bringing back to the lungs, and this is exhaled out. Is that clear? So it carries the absorbed food, that is whatever food that we are taking in, we are eating, that is digested in the small intestine, and from the small intestine it is carried to all the cells of the body, and that is through, so it is carried to each and every cell of the body. What is the function of the WPCs? That is, they kill the germs that enter our body and protect us from diseases, as I have told you that they are doing through the process of phagocytosis. Is that clear? So this is what they are doing, that they are phagocytosing the toxin or the microorganism that is enter our body and protecting us from the various diseases. Apart from this, it is also carrying the hormones from the endocrine glands, which we have discussed in the earlier earlier lectures. So it is carrying the hormones from the endocrine glands. Is that clear? To the different organs of the body where they are needed, to the target organs wherever they are needed. Then it is carrying what? It is carrying the metabolic waste, whatever waste that have been generated in a body due to various metabolic activities. They are carried in the form of waste from the different body cells to the kidneys, and from the kidneys they are removed from the bodies. So you have studied about the excretory system, what is responsible for the formation of urine and from where is this urine being formed. Now everything is being done to the filtration of the blood through the kidneys only. Then it is distributing the excess heat produced by the tissues. The body temperature rises due to maybe any activity that is going on inside the body or due to the temperature outside also. So it is maintaining a constant body temperature, that is around about 37 to 38 degree Celsius. So then whatever water and salt balance is there, it is being maintained through the blood only. Blood is responsible for maintenance of the water and salt balance in the body cells. And last but not the least, the platelets are responsible for the clotting of the blood, otherwise a person might bleed to death after just a minor injury. Is it clear? So these are the functions of the blood. I hope you have understood them. How is this blood transported inside a body? So blood is carried through blood vessels, and blood vessels are what? They are long thin tubes in which blood flows. You can see them in this figure in the form of the red network and the blue network. Red network means the blood that is oxygenated, carrying oxygen, and this blood which is deoxygenated, carrying carbon dioxide. So this is basically these blood vessels are of three types, that is the arteries, the veins and the capillaries. Is that clear? Artery, veins and the capillaries, these are the three types of blood vessels. What are the arteries doing? They are carrying blood from the heart to the various parts of the body. They are carrying the blood from the heart to the various parts of the body, and except the pulmonary artery, all the arteries carry oxygenated blood, that is the blood which is rich in oxygen. They have thick elastic and muscular walls, just because they have to pump blood with high pressure to all the parts of the body, and that is why the walls are thick, elastic and muscular. Is that clear? And they lie deep inside the skin. They are not visible under the skin. We cannot see them. What we see on under the skin are the veins, and the largest artery is the aorta and the smallest artery is the arteriole. Is that clear? Arteriole are the smallest arteries. Then veins are what? They are the blood vessels that carry this whole blue system that you can see. They are the blood vessels that are carrying the blood from the various parts of the body back to the heart. So all veins except the pulmonary vein, is that clear, carry deoxygenated blood. And this I will explain, the pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein, why are they carrying the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood when I come to that point. So this pulmonary vein is the only vein that carries oxygenated blood. Rest of the veins carry deoxygenated blood, that is carbon dioxide rich blood. Now just because they are bringing blood from back to the heart from all the parts of the body, so they don't need that much of pumping action. So they have thin, less elastic and muscular walls, and the blood that is flowing is with low pressure and flows smoothly. So we can see them as greenish blue lines just below the skin of our hands and legs, and they have valves. These valves allow the blood to flow in one direction only, that is only to the heart. And largest vein in the body are the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. The smallest vein is the venule. Is that clear? These are the smallest veins which are known as the venule. Now this network that you can see are the capillaries. They are extremely thin blood vessels that connect arteries to the veins. You can see this is the artery and this is the vein. They are connected through this network. First these arteries get broken up into the smallest artery, that is known as arteriole, and here it gets broken up into smallest vein, that is the venule, and then finally they get into a network. This is known as the capillaries. So extremely thin blood vessels that connect arteries to veins are called capillaries. Is it clear? And the walls of the capillary have a single layer of cells. Now they are having a single layer of cells just because of the extremely thin layer. The exchange of materials take place very easily. Is that clear? Whatever mechanism is there, or if a particular thing is thick or thin, then its function will be accordingly. So we should thank God for everything. Just imagine the mechanism by which they are working and the process through which they are working. So useful substances like food and oxygen present in blood enter the blood cells through the capillary. Is that clear? And at the same time, waste like carbon dioxide formed in body cell enters the blood through capillaries. So this is happening through the capillaries. That is all the useful substances present in the blood enters through these, and the waste products also formed in the body cell leaves the body blood through these capillaries. Is it clear? Next is heart. Now heart is a pumping organ, we all know this. Now what is heart? I just told you that it is a pumping muscular organ through which blood is pumped to all the parts of the body. Through what? Through the various blood vessels which are leaving and entering it. Is that clear? And what is responsible for this movement are the cardiac muscles. These are the specialized muscles which are present in the heart. And what is the speciality of these muscles? That is, they help in the contraction and the relaxation, and they never get tired. So they are responsible for the uh, endless working of the heart, never which never stops till a person dies. Is that clear? Now the size of the heart is about 12 centimeter in length, and it is 9 centimeter in breadth. It weighs about 300 grams. Is it clear? And it is located where? It is located between the lungs, in the chest cavity. You can see the position. It is located between the lungs in the chest cavity, and its lower tip is slightly tilted towards the left. This is the left side. You can see this tip is slightly tilted towards the left. Is it clear? And heart is enclosed in a membrane, double membrane sac, which is known as pericardium. And the space between the two membrane is filled with a fluid which is known as pericardial fluid. And what does this pericardial fluid do? It protects the heart from jerks and shocks. And heart, I have just shown you in the previous diagram that it is also protected by the rib cage, the bony cage. Is that clear? So these are the layers of the heart. That is, it is double layered, and a double membrane sac called the pericardium. Now in this diagram that you can see the various chambers of the heart. That is, the heart is four chambered, consisting of the two atrium, that is the two upper chamber, the right atrium and the left atrium, or the right auricle and the left auricle, and the two lower chambers which are known as the ventricle, the right ventricle and the left ventricle. Now the atria are small chambers. Is that clear? And they have thin wall, just the same thing as with the veins. They also have thin wall, that is, they have to carry the blood just from the atrium to the ventricle, and they are just receiving chambers. They don't have to pump much blood. Is that clear? So they receive blood from different body parts, and they are also called as the receiving chambers. Ventricles, you can see, you compare them, they are the larger chambers. They are the distributing chambers. They have to pump blood into the big blood vessels, and they also called as the distributing chambers, just because they have to distribute blood to all body parts, these blood vessels which are coming out through them, and the blood is entering, passing from the ventricle and going to be transported to the different blood vessels, and these blood vessels transported to different parts of the body. So these ventricles are the distributing chambers. Now the left side of the heart, this side contains the oxygenated blood or oxygen rich blood, and the right side of the heart contains carbon dioxide rich or deoxygenated blood, and it is separated, this left side is separated from the right side through a septum. Is it clear? And the atria are separated by the interauricular septum, and the ventricle are separated by interventricular septum. Is that clear? And this does what? This prevents the mixing of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, as the right side contains the deoxygenated blood and the left side contains the oxygenated blood. Is it clear? So blood flows, what is the direction of the blood flow? It will always be from right atrium to right ventricle, and from the left atrium to the left ventricle. It will not be from right atrium to right ventricle, left atrium, or from the right ventricle to the left ventricle. It will always be from the right atrium to the right ventricle, and from the left atrium to the left ventricle. Is it clear? Then there are various valves which are present in the heart and which control the flow of the blood. Now there are basically four valves that are present: tricuspid valve, bicuspid valve, then the two semilunar valves, which are the pulmonary valve and aortic valve. Is it clear? Now tricuspid valve, it is present between the right atrium and the right ventricle. this tricuspid valve is present between the right atrium and the right ventricle. Is it clear? And what does it do? It allows the blood flow from the right atrium to the right ventricle and prevents the backflow. It is not back from the right ventricle into the right atrium. It will always be in this direction only, that is in from the right atrium to the right ventricle. Is it clear? So this is the tricuspid valve. Then the bicuspid valve, it is present between the left atrium and the left ventricle. Again, this is also allowing the blood flow from the left atrium to the left ventricle, and then it is preventing the backflow. It will not be in this direction ever. Is it clear? So it will be singly in the single direction, that is from the right atrium to the right ventricle and left atrium to the left ventricle. Is that clear? Then there is another valve, that is semilunar valve, which is present between the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery. That is the pulmonary valve which is present. This is the pulmonary valve which is present between the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery. This is the pulmonary artery. Is that clear? This is the pulmonary valve. Then the aortic valve. This semilunar valve lies between the left ventricle and the aorta. That is the aortic valve. This lies between the left ventricle over here and the aorta. Right? So these are the valves, and then there is a small mass of specialized muscle cell found in the wall of the right atrium, and this is called the sinoatrial node or pacemaker of the heart. So you can see over here the sinoatrial node that is present in the wall of the right atrium, and it is present near the opening of the vena cava. Here this is the vena cava, and you can see the opening of the vena cava, that is, it is present in the wall of the right atrium, and this is called the sinoatrial node or the SA node or pacemaker of the heart. So it is the rhythmic, that is repeating itself, lub dub, the heartbeat. So it is like in a constant type of beat that you can hear, and spontaneous contraction, that is automatic, of the muscle cells of the SA node are doing what? They are stimulating the contraction of the atria, and this is the point which initiates and maintains the heartbeat. This particular muscle, that is wall of the muscle, the specialized mass of muscles are responsible for the initiation, that is start of the heartbeat, and maintaining the heartbeat as such only. If there is some problem with this part, then the heartbeat will also not be normal. So it is replaced by a artificial pacemaker. Is that clear? Through surgery. Now blood vessels which are entering and leaving the heart, you can see over here that the vena cava, that is the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. Now what is the superior vena cava doing? That is, it is bringing the deoxygenated blood, that is blood which is rich in carbon dioxide, from the upper parts of the body, superior upper parts. Is that clear? That is the heart and the shoulders of the body, upper parts of the body, and bringing it to the right atrium. You can see here. Then the inferior vena cava, inferior means bringing blood from the lower parts of the body, the trunk and the legs, that include the stomach, the kidneys, the liver, your legs. The blood, deoxygenated blood, is being brought. You can see this blue means deoxygenated, rich in carbon dioxide and containing no oxygen. So this superior and the inferior vena cava you can see over here in the diagram. Now the deoxygenated blood from all parts of the body is pumped into the right atrium, whether be it from the inferior vena cava or from the superior vena cava, and it is pumped into this part, that is this chamber of the heart, that is the right atrium. Then the pulmonary vein you can see over here. These are the pulmonary veins, and they carry the oxygenated blood. I had told you these are the only veins which carry the oxygenated blood. Otherwise the veins are carrying the oxygenated blood. This is the only vein of the body which carries the oxygenated blood, and they carry the oxygenated blood from the lungs. That is why they are oxygenated. They are carrying it from the lungs to the heart inside the, where is it bringing the blood? To the atrium, to the right atrium, left atrium, I beg your pardon. Is that clear? Then pulmonary artery, this is the only artery which is carrying the deoxygenated blood which is rich in carbon dioxide. It is carrying it from the right ventricle to the lungs. Is it clear? Carrying it from the right ventricle and to the lungs. Is it clear? Then in the lungs the blood becomes oxygenated. Is that clear? Oxygen is coming from where? Whatever oxygen that we are inhaling, and it is going where? Inside the lungs. And aorta, the biggest artery of the body, this carries oxygenated blood from the left ventricle to all the parts of the body. This left ventricle carries the oxygenated blood and it is pumping it into the aorta, and this you can see various branches, various arteries that it is divided into small arteries, and they are pumping blood to all the parts of the body. Then the coronary arteries, they are carrying the blood to the heart. So there are some arteries which are supplying blood to the heart also, and these are known as the coronary artery, and they arise from the base of the aorta. You can see them as left coronary artery and the right coronary artery, and they are supplying oxygenated blood to the entire heart muscles. Heart muscles are being supplied by the right coronary artery and the left coronary artery, and these cardiac muscles are responsible for the rhythmic and spontaneous contraction and relaxation of the heart. Is that clear? Then there are cardiac veins. Now these cardiac veins carry blood from the wall of the heart to the right atrium. Is it clear? Cardiac veins or the coronary veins, they carry the blood from the wall of the heart to the right atrium. So this is all for today. I will proceed on with the rest of the chapter in the next lecture, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.